525,600 minutes. 525,000 moments so dear. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure? Measure a year. In daylights, in sunsets, in midnights, in cups of coffee, in inches, in miles, in laughter and stride, in 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year in the life? How about love? Measure in love. Seasons of love. That is a song called Seasons of Love, and it's from the Broadway musical Rent. And for those of you that know me, know Rent is one of my all-time favorite shows. But what you probably don't know is that Rent actually changed my life and saved my life in a lot of ways. So in honor of Rent Live, which airs this Sunday night, guys, at 8 o'clock on Fox Network, Rent Live, I'm going to talk about my love of the musical Rent. You don't ever really see it in my videos, but on the side of me right here, there's actually a poster of the musical Rent. I love Rent. I love Rent so much. I have so much Rent paraphernalia everywhere. But what I wanted to say about Rent was, for those of you that are not familiar with what Rent is or what it even is, Rent was a Broadway musical that made its debut in the late 90s. It was raw. It was edgy. It was a rock opera. It was utterly amazing. It was written by a man named Jonathan Larson, and it was actually the only thing that Jonathan Larson ever wrote, because Jonathan Larson actually died dress rehearsal of the show. He never actually got to see the show famous or performed and to become the phenomenon that Rent was known as, which is kind of sad because he was very young. He had a brain aneurysm and died. But Rent went on to become one of the biggest award shows. It won Pulitzer Prizes, it won Tonys. It was just unbelievable. And like I said, Rent dealt with a lot of issues at the time that no other show on Broadway had touched. It dealt with lesbianism, homosexuality, addiction, drag. It dealt with everything you could possibly imagine. Drugs. On stage, it was raw, it was real, it was Rent. And it's about a bunch of people in Bohemia, which is a part of New York, and they're kind of squatters. They're all poor, and they're all connected in some way. Like there's Mark, who's the narrator, the filmmaker. He just lost his girlfriend, Maureen, to a woman. His best friend is Roger, who's a rock singer, who just recently found out he is HIV positive after his girlfriend committed suicide. Then there's Mimi, the upstairs neighbor, who's also a stripper, who has got a secret crush on Roger, and she comes in the middle of the night one night telling him to take her out tonight, and changes Roger's life. There's Collins, who is a teacher, a professor, who is also friends with the guys and used to be their roommate. He falls in love, and when he meets one of the central characters in the show, Angel, who is a drag queen who meets Collins after he's attacked and beaten up and robbed, and she basically changes his life. There's also Maureen Jefferson, who is the current lover of Maureen. But the biggest, as I said, character is Angel. Angel is the central character. Angel is called Angel for many reasons. She brings everyone together in love before she has to move on and do her thing. And I'm not going to say what happened if you haven't seen Rent, because you should watch Rent live this Sunday on Fox. But anyway, that's basically the story. But it is really a remake of La Vie Boheme, the opera. That's why it's a rock opera. Jonathan Larson was a big fan of that opera, and so he rewrote it with these modern day characters and this raw, edgy music. The first time I heard it was right before my 30th birthday. I was with some friends in their car, and I heard this really bizarre song called Would You Light My Candle? And instantly I was in love with it. I was like, oh my God, that is like the greatest song I've ever heard in my lifetime. I was like, I must know who sings this song. They said it's from the musical Rent. And I was like, oh my God, that woman's voice in there is just incredible. And you guys know that I love women with raspy voices. And Daphne Rubin Vega, who was the original Mimi, her voice is like, almost like, it's just amazing. You have to hear it. So I was so in love with it. They started playing more and more of the music, and I would listen to it all the time. Every time my friend would come around, I'm like, please, 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 please make it. Well, I was about to turn 30, and I was so depressed, guys. I didn't even want to live. I was like, I don't want to be 30. It's horrible. My life is over. You know how you get. 30 was my worst birthday. I'm almost 50 now. Hell, I got this. But when I was 30, so my friends, for my 30th birthday, they threw me a huge party. It's probably one of the last really big, gigantic, it was a big party. surprise birthday party, a wonderful thing, and they bought me the soundtrack to Rent, the Broadway musical. Now you got to understand, at the time it was a big double CD because it's all song. There's no lyrics. I mean, there's no speaking in Rent. It's all lyrical. Sorry, guys. So it was very expensive. The CD pack was like $40 or $50 in stores. You couldn't get it anywhere cheap. So my friends really, really cared a lot about me to buy me that. I was so excited. I was in tears. So I began to listen to Rent every day, and I would share Rent with everyone I knew. I finally got to go see the musical in Greenville when a bunch of my friends took me to see it in Greenville, and I was just in love. I was so excited to see it. Oh my gosh, it went through my soul. I just loved it so, so much. Then I heard that Rent was going to be made into a film, and it was, and I was even more excited about the film. Oh my gosh, and I remember going to the theater when the film came out, and I literally, as the music started in the very beginning for the first song in the movie, was weeping and weeping and weeping, because all of these memories of how much I loved Rent and how this music had gotten me through so much of my life was finally going to be played out in front of me in this film. And not just me, but everybody in this room, in this theater, was going to love Rent as much as I did. I was so excited. And I remember just crying through the musical, and my friends were all like, "It's okay, honey," and they're all like, "He is really emotional," because there's so many wonderful moments in Rent and so many wonderful scenes. I remember when the two lesbians did their song "Take Me or Leave Me," and they slammed their hands down on that pool table in the movie. It's Dina Menzel and Tracy Thoms. I just remember people screaming and cheering. It was such a great moment in the play. I just remember all of the music and just how much I loved it. It just made me love Rent all over again. So I had to rush out and buy the CD. And the night the video was released, the DVD was released, I went to Walmart and I made them open it right there in front of me. They had it in a thing, and I stood in line for like an hour and a half so that I would be the first person in this store to get Rent. Now in my mind, I'm thinking I'm the first person in my town to get Rent, but I didn't care. I cried. I touched the box. I was crying because I had the DVD. Rent means so, so much to me because it had opened a part of my soul that the music had just really affected me. I then got the Rent Live Broadway DVD. It showed in a movie theater. It was coming to the movies. I remember me and a bunch of my friends got together and we went and saw it. It played one night in the movie theater. Rent from Broadway. Oh my God, y'all. I was crying. I was weeping all over again. I was so in love with Rent. I was like, oh my God, this is it. And when they released that on DVD, Rent, the Broadway musical, on DVD, you can get it, the movie or the Broadway musical, Rent film live on Amazon. Get them. Now, I prefer you to watch the Broadway musical just because it's the play, and I'm a little bit more of a purist when it comes to plays versus the movie. Because in the movie, they added dialogue, they speak some of the songs, and they took away from the actual show being a musical and a sung-through musical. So that kind of bothered me a little bit. But it is what it is. It was still Rent the movie. So then in 2011, guys, as I said, you can't see, I was given the opportunity to direct Rent in my community theater. This was a big moment for me as a musical theater director. I was so excited. I could not breathe the night they called and told me I had Rent. I was going to have a panic attack. I was finally going to have my own version of this show that had saved me from a time when, when I was turning 30, I really did not want to live. Like, I was thinking maybe I should commit suicide. So I just was really, really, really sad by this. And there was so much going on in my life, and Rent was that thing that pulled me up out of that and made me say, nah, man, your life isn't as bad as these people's, trust me. So I was just like, oh my God, I'm doing Rent. And so I cast 19 amazing performers to play these roles, and these people all had a love for Rent like I did. So night after night after night, we rehearsed Rent and we put Rent on, and it was unbelievable. Now, as I said, it was the most controversial musical that our community theater had done to date. It was very, very raunchy. It was very raw, and people were leaving. Some stayed. We brought a lot of people in. The show did very well, but a lot of our older crowd did not understand Rent, because the thing about Rent is either you love it or you hate it. There's no in between. You either love Rent or you hate it. It's not like Grease where you go, oh yeah, I like it, it's cool. There is just one, you either love it or hate it. I know people who have a great love for it like I do, and I know people that have a great hatred. So anyway, we would do this show night after night after night, and it is almost a 3-hour powerhouse musical with all this singing, so my cast would be exhausted. And I remember one of my favorite Rent stories that I share with a lot of people. from our musical production is when we did Rent, we had a performance where the cast was just, they were just giving it all. And the young man who played Angel in our production he was very good. He won Best Supporting Actor for it, actually. He had put in the program that he wished his grandmother would have lived to have seen him play this role that he had loved and had dreamed of playing. And one night after a show, an old lady came backstage, and y'all, she had to be 70, a good 70, maybe even pushing 80. She was very old, and she was weeping and weeping and weeping. And as she spoke to each one of the actors, from Roger all the way down, she would weep and sob even more. When she got to the young man that played Angel, she just threw her arms around him and said, "Your grandmother would be so proud of you because I am." And he just started to weep, and she said, "Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I came here tonight with my mind set one way. But this show tonight changed the way I think. You see, love is love. Who am I to judge it?" She said, "This show was so beautiful and powerful. It changed the way I think." She said, "I would come and watch you guys do this show every single night, but I don't think I could ever take this emotional journey that I just went on. But thank you for finally making me realize that it's not about your sexuality. It's about love is love." And she just turned and left the room. A hush was all over. None of us could speak. We were all like, our hearts were racing, tears running. We were all fighting back tears. And finally the guy that played Roger said, "This is why we did it. This is what we did Rent for. For that, we just changed one person's life. This is what the magic of this show." And we all just began to weep as hard as that woman was, because we were so proud that if we had done the show for nothing, it was for one person. So that's what Rent means to me. Rent means so much to so many people. And there's not a song in Rent that I can just not tell you the words to, from Light My Candle, which is still, every time I hear it, I think about that very first moment, driving down the road on this dark road and hearing, Mimi and Roger doing "Would You Light My Candle?" I'm like, oh, who is that woman's voice? Oh my God. And her singing Out Tonight, which is still one of my favorite songs. Like every time I want to go out with a friend or something, I want to play it on their answer machine, like, "Take me out tonight." Every time I hear Seasons of Love, I weep. And every time I hear Without You, I weep and weep and weep. And the sorrow of this show, it is just one of the most powerful things. And as you guys know, I love Hairspray and I love Grease and I love many, many musicals. But Rent is the show that changed my life forever. It will always be just a spectacular, spectacular show. And I always will look back and thank my friends for giving me that double disc, which I don't even know if I have anymore. It's gone, of Rent, and I don't even know if I can still get one, but of that Broadway musical, because that moment right there, that was my moment of I had my own Rent, and Rent has lived in my heart forever. So to be able to watch it Sunday Night Live, guys, is going to be amazing for me. I wish I could live stream it and do it as I do, but I don't want you guys to see me because I will be so emotional. But I promise I will do a review. I will talk more about it afterwards. I'm very, very excited. It has the cast looks really great, and I cannot wait to see what they're going to do with Rent. Vanessa Hudgens, who was also in Grease Live, is playing Maureen, and Valentina from RuPaul's Drag Race is going to be starring as Angel. So there's going to be such an amazing, amazing cast. Jordan Fisher is going to play Mark. So it's just going to be such a great, great, great show, and I hope that you guys, if you have never seen Rent, watch the movie or go and watch the Broadway show. You can look it up on YouTube. The entire Broadway musical is on YouTube. You can watch it live on Fox this weekend and see if Rent touches you. If you don't like it, I won't be offended. I've had people tell me they hate it all the time. But it is such a good show, guys, and it changed my life. So I just wanted to share that. Good luck to everybody doing Rent Live. And if you guys, please watch it if you can. Let me know what you think about it. If you have a love for Rent, leave them in the comments below. I cannot wait till Sunday, guys. I want to do a big countdown to how many days till Rent Live. All right, guys, remember, hating is a disease, and some folks need to get well soon. Be yourself, because everyone else has changed. Everyone else is taken. Blah, blah. Be yourself, because everyone else is blah, blah, blah. Everyone else is taken. Y'all, I'm tired. And remember, 525,600 minutes. That's how you measure a year. All right, guys, love you. Bye.